President Trump impeached by the House of Representatives. We're going to look at the political and spiritual implications of this vote. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. Welcome to the broadcast, friend. I have been grieved, angry, at points sick to my stomach by what has happened to President Trump. And the reason for that is because I have watched these hearings. I have looked at the so-called findings of the Democrats. And as a man who has spent untold hours in court proceedings, yours truly, I know that this is a sham. I know that under the federal rules of evidence, literally none of the evidence that the Democrats have presented, except for Ambassador Sandlin, none of it would even be permissible in court. And the one ambassador who heard President Trump would exonerate President Trump, as would President Zelensky of Ukraine. But I want to talk to you in tonight's broadcast about the implications politically, and then later on, I said spiritually, but really what I mean is for Christian leaders, the heads of churches, ministries, the implications for them. But let's begin with the political. This was a sloppy impeachment. As you probably know, Nancy Pelosi is now saying that she is not going to give the articles of impeachment to Mitch McConnell and to the Senate until she is assured that the trial goes the way she wants, which means that they want to open up the Senate trial to evidence and witnesses that the Democrats didn't have in the House. In other words, they want the Senate to do for them what they didn't do for themselves and for the American people. It's ludicrous on its face. And my hat goes off to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell for saying, look, in so many words, we're not here to be your bellboy. We're not your delivery boy. If you rushed and you have a sloppy impeachment, that's your problem. We're going to try the president based upon the facts that you've given us, period, as is his responsibility. So now Nancy Pelosi is saying we're just going to hold these back here like a hand grenade with the pin out, and we'll throw it over the wall whenever we want. Now, I want to look for a few moments at the political implications, first of the impeachment itself, and then why she would wait. I have run for office many times. I've worked in many federal campaigns and a few local campaigns, so this is something that I'm quite familiar with on a personal level. First, let's look at the Bidens. What this impeachment has done has effectively shut down, maybe with a 90 or 95% certainty, that the Ukrainian government will look at Burisma and Hunter Biden, the vice president's son, and Joe Biden in any type of criminal manner. They will not investigate them. Because if they did, then the Ukrainian government would look like it was in fact doing the behest of President Trump. Now, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, when Vice President Biden was vice president, his son got a job on the board of a gas company that is known to be corrupt. The Ukrainian government, and since the collapse of the Soviet Union, a lot of corruption has emerged in the gas industry and just flat out criminal acts. Burisma was under investigation. They hired Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, at $50,000 a month minimum, paid him millions of dollars while his dad was vice president, and Hunter Biden had no experience in gas, no knowledge of the Ukraine, nothing. It was to curry favor. And then when Biden went over there and said to them, in fact, go ahead and play the tape.
And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I'm not going to, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, what, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a got fired.
So that statement was about the fact that the Ukrainian officials were investigating Burisma and Hunter Biden, and Joe Biden, the vice president, said, if you don't fire that prosecutor in the next 6 hours, you're not getting the $1 billion. So there was your crime. And we've got it on tape. But because of what they have done with the articles of impeachment regarding President Trump's abuse of power, they have insulated Joe Biden. They have effectively said that if he in fact did commit any crime, or his son committed any crime, or if they did anything unethical in 2016, that they are hands off. No one can investigate them. Because to do so would not be in the pursuit of justice. No. It would be a political witch hunt. So that's one of the benefits that they have from this politically. Another benefit that they have is that they have kept the AOC lunatic wing at bay. Now let me explain. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was one of a handful of far-left socialists that were elected into the U.S. House. They are self-declared socialists, and their economic policies would spell the ruin of the country, and very possibly, before we got there, would spell the ruin of the Democrat Party, because there's too many people, including Democrats, that are smart enough to know you can't give everyone free health care. You can't give everyone a college education. The numbers don't work. You can't retrofit America with their Green New Deal. It would destroy our nation. It would destroy our economy. It's just not doable. So the AOC little cabal, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, they have people that are waiting in the wings as potential candidates to run against moderate Democrats. Now, President Trump carried the 2016 election with some pretty significant numbers in the Electoral College. In 2018, there were 32 House members elected as Democrats who won their seat in congressional districts that had gone to President Trump in 2016. So that means that their hold on those seats is very tenuous. There's every likelihood that they will lose those seats in the 2020 election because the president being at the top of the ticket is going to draw more voters out. And more people will vote party line, and they'll vote President Republican, Senate Republican, Governor Republican, U.S. House Republican, etc. But if those 32 Democrats had voted against Nancy Pelosi, had voted against impeachment, the AOC wing stood ready to run challengers against those Democrats in the Democrat primaries. Do you understand? So I'm a Democrat. I've only been here a year. I'm barely holding on. If I vote against the impeachment, and I vote with President Trump, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has a candidate that's ready to run against me in a Democrat primary, which I would probably lose. And so my first battle that I've got to win is not the general election in 2020, it's the primary. So the political benefit to some Democrats for voting for the impeachment of President Trump was to keep the left-wing lunatics away from the primary process. And I promise you that Nancy Pelosi, behind closed doors, she and her staff said to those freshman congressmen, if you don't vote with us, you're going to get AOC and company to try and take you out. And so they went along with it. Only 2 Democrats voted against Article 1 of the impeachment, and 3 Democrats voted against Article 2. No Republicans voted to impeach the president. I've got to take a break. When we come back, I will continue explaining to you the political benefits to the Democrat Party and what this means for President Trump. Please don't go away. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. For the beginner or price-conscious buyer, there's Michael Kelly guitars. For the serious player or professional, Roxy Guitar has the finest selection of guitar lines I've ever seen. You know I love Warrior guitars. Roxy Guitar has over 100 Warriors in stock. They have Heritage, G&L, Gretsch, John Sears, BC Rich, Duesenberg, Dean, legendary guitars at great prices, including pre-owned Gibsons, Fenders, and more. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com. Welcome back, friend. When we were off the air, one of our team was saying, please explain the difference between impeachment and conviction. So the fact that the House has impeached him, perhaps the easiest correlation that I could make is that they've indicted him. Now, please, that's a legal term that has a precise legal definition, but it's analogous to you're indicted. You're going to face a trial. So the House doesn't have the authority to try the president. They don't have the authority to throw the president out of office. They have the authority to impeach him. Then they send the evidence that they have compiled in their impeachment proceedings to the Senate to try him and to see if he is found guilty. Mitch McConnell has made it clear that this is sloppy. There's nothing even remotely that would rise to the level of impeachment, or rather of convicting him and removing him from office. So it's dead on arrival. So President Trump is still going to be our president today, tomorrow, next week. And if the Democrats ever release these foolish articles of impeachment to the Senate, then President Trump will be acquitted and he will remain president. Now let's go back to the benefits to the Democrats. By doing this, another benefit they've done is they have gotten ahead of Attorney General Barr. I believe that the single largest reason that they rushed through these articles of impeachment is because staffers at the Department of Justice and in the Connecticut division of the Federal Prosecutor's Office, where Durham works, that people on the staff there leaked to people on the staff of Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, etc., the leaders of the Democrat Party, who is being investigated for criminal activities and who might be indicted. Now, I'm speaking specifically of the false FISA applications. Now, please stay with me. I promise I'll make this quick. The Mueller report, the ludicrous assertion that President Trump colluded with the Russians, was all based upon a fake dossier put together by a man named Christopher Steele that was paid for by Hillary Clinton and the Democrat Party. It was just internet rumors gathered together and then presented as if it was fact. And they knew it wasn't fact. They knew it was a lie. They used that to go to the spying courts of the federal government and get warrants on people close to President Trump so that they could spy on Trump. So if you get a warrant on Carter Page and you know that he's communicating with President Trump, that's a twofer. You get to look at Carter Page, but he's not really your target. It's President Trump. So they, by impeaching the president, got ahead of that. I believe this is the biggest reason that they did it, so that if Barr does indict James Comey or James Clapper or Brennan, formerly of the CIA, or any number of FBI officials, or if they see that some of the members of Congress were involved in illegitimate or illegal activities where they lied to our courts, okay, which is a crime, that they can now say, William Barr is just, the Attorney General, William Barr, he's just Trump's hatchet man. This is political payback. This isn't justice. This is just to get even with us for impeaching the president because we had the goods on the president and they're just making all this up. You see the genius of that? They got ahead of the William Barr investigation and indictments, and now they can say that what the Attorney General is doing is a complete farce and it's just political payback because he's a hatchet man for the Republican Party and for President Trump. Another benefit to the Democrats is fundraising. They clearly don't have a strong candidate to go against President Trump, but they also clearly have a fairly energized lunatic base that hates President Trump, frantically wants him out of office. They can now say, we tried to impeach the president. The corrupt Republicans in the Senate wouldn't let justice prevail. Our only hope is to defeat President Trump at the ballot box or to keep control of the U.S. House. So now they're going to go to their donor base and say, you've got to send us money so that we can keep control of the House of Representatives and try and impeach him again in 2020 if he wins. Or better yet, send us money so that our candidate can defeat President Trump and finally bring this dark chapter of American history to a close. They've set themselves up for a fundraising bonanza. I've got to take a break. I'll be right back with more political and then spiritual analysis. Don't go away.
I also want to speak tonight directly to Muslims throughout the world. We respect your faith. Its teachings are good and peaceful. And those who commit evil in the name of Allah blaspheme the name of Allah.
We have reaffirmed again and again that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. Islam teaches peace.
Islam is a religion of peace. They are not Muslims, they are monsters.
We've been told that Muslim terrorists have hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam. But Islamic art and literature tell a very different story. To know the truth, we only have to study the narrative of the founder of Islam, Muhammad, in his own words. Before I look at the spiritual dynamic in Christian leaders, I want to bring out one other issue, and that has to do with future history. History is written by the winners, or it's written by the ideological. So our school books, for example, in many schools, lean towards socialism. It used to be that in the 1940s and 50s, textbooks, history books would condemn Karl Marx, would condemn Vladimir Lenin. Joseph Stalin, up until recently, was seen as a treacherous, evil villain. But many history books written by college professors who are left-leaning Democrats, socialists, some of them even communists, they're rewriting history and making Thomas Jefferson and George Washington out to be villains. America's founders are all racists, and the true champions of human dignity and human liberty are people who follow the ideology of Karl Marx, not of Jesus Christ. So President Trump has now been impeached. Bill Clinton was impeached. Richard Nixon resigned rather than face impeachment. These history writers now have what they hope to be the tag. Because if they write the history books, it won't be that President Trump had the biggest economy in American history, the most jobs in American history, the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years. He renegotiated trade deals with China and Canada and Mexico. I mean, go down through the list of his accomplishments. That's not what the history books will say. President Trump, the 45th president, who was impeached by the U.S. House, The only way for that to not happen, and this is what I pray, is for the Democrats to be so trounced and humiliated politically at the ballot box in 2020 that what the Democrats did is taught to school children and college kids as a lesson in abuse of power. Because for all their clamoring and for the very article of impeachment that the president abused his power, the real abuse of power that's going on right now is with the Democrat House of Representatives, Democrat-led House of Representatives. That's the abuse of power. So the only way that this is going to take its rightful place in the remembering of Donald Trump is if we prevail in such a way that the godless left-wing agenda of Karl Marx and Charles Schumer and Nancy Pelosi is trounced and thrown onto the ash heap of history. I'll be right back as we take a look at pastors, clergy, and what this means for those of us in Christian leadership. What Would Mohammed Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Muhammad and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, "I learned more from What Would Mohammed Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life." Best-selling author Dr. Bill Warner said, "What Would Mohammed Do is the best movie series, TV production on the life of Muhammad and Islamic terrorism that has ever been produced." Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700, or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com. Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth. If the salt has lost its savor, it is henceforth good for nothing except to be thrown into the street and trampled underfoot of men." We are the light of the world. And the shepherds of God's flock, the clergy, the religious leaders, the Christian leaders, the prophets, the priests, I almost said prophets, priests, and kings, the prophets, the pastors, the evangelists, people who are the leaders of God's flock from every Christian denomination, and those of us that lead Christian ministries, we're at the vanguard. We are called to lead the church militant on the attack, okay? Literally charging the gates of hell. I have been involved in Christian leadership and activism for almost my entire adult life. This is the worst time that I have ever seen, and I would argue it is the worst time in all of American history. In this way, a lack of passion, a lack of valor, a lack of clarity from Christian leaders. I had many personal meetings with Jerry Falwell, D. James Kennedy, James Dobson. The first two gentlemen are dead. James Dobson no longer has the voice he used to have. With Cardinal O'Connor, the Catholic Archbishop of New York, with Bishop Austin Vaughn. These men who knew each other, who loved each other, who worked together, they helped bring about the moral majority, the Reagan Revolution, the rise of the Christian right. They put passion into the hearts of Christian leaders, young pastors. But those days are not with us. The number of clergy who refuse to preach about things political is growing, and the number of clergy that will preach clearly about how we vote and what matters to God is dropping. We've got to have a revival among Christian leaders, Christian ministries, whether Protestant, Catholic, Orthodox, Methodist, mainline denomination, I don't care. Mainline denominations, we've got to have a revival of clarity and courage from our Christian leaders, or the political juggernaut of the left is going to continue to engulf us. Because where the shepherds go, there go the sheep. God help us. I'll be back soon. God bless you. Pray for President Trump.